Hello gamers, I'm looking a bit raggedy today. That's besides the point. We're here with another Zenless Zone Zero video. I'm gonna instead use this video to replace what I was scheduling. I'm deciding to move things around. Not important. Uh, well, to the surprise of probably many, they put our goat, Yoshimi Miyabi, on Fraud Watch. It's so Jover. But no, seriously, there's a lot going on here with Zenless Zone Zero in terms of its meta. We're seemingly going into a Rupture Shill era, right? With getting multiple Rupture characters back to back, and what's looking like even more. And so this next few updates is looking to heavily push Rupture finally, after, you know, we only had Yishuan to begin with, right? And because we finally got our limited Rupture support with Lucia, and we're going to get another, you know, stunner in the future who could potentially be, of course, tailored towards Rupture or other stuff. We don't know as of now, unless you look at leaks, of course, and we're not talking about leaks today. So, yeah, a lot of interesting changes and additions to the tier list. We've got 2 brand new characters, multiple characters on Fraud Watch, and a buff for 1 character. And so, yeah, let's talk about it. First off, on initial glance, I do still mostly agree with most of their placements. I think some probably could be moved around, but it's really here nor there. Some of them are questionable, like how both Hugo and Ellen are on the same tier, but then like Asaba's right here, and it's like there's no way certain characters like Soldier 11 would even perform at the same level. You know, stuff like that. So like, again, this is getting a bit weird down here, and same thing with Monato being where he's at. Jufufu being up here is really weird as well. And then, of course, Nicole getting expert tag and stuff like that. So, yeah. Firstly, let's read the changelog, because this is going to be the most important thing here. It's actually quite short this time. Let's see. This update adds Lucia Monato as well as adjustments to Soldier 0 Ambi. This also tackles the continuing difficulty increase in game and the introduction of harder bosses that forced shift being pushed by Hoyo. Oh, by the way, the main reason I can tell you right now that, you know, our goat, the one and only goat, there is no other goat, is on Fraud Watch at all is because they are intentionally doing mechanics and changes to bosses to make it against her. I kind of hope they stop doing it because it's going to get really annoying in the future for any potential ice characters, as the fact that you can't freeze is going to completely remove ice as like a viable element for really anything, because it's the only thing it has, right? Physical has increased daze damage dealt. Fire at least can stun human enemies, and it is going to be worse as a dot damage type than the other 2 dot damage types, but it at least has a little bit of something there. Corruption will control ethereal enemies, and then also it has better dot damage than fire. And then shock has the highest dot damage, and it also does shield removal for those specific electric shields. I think you can apply anomaly to get rid of other shields, but you get what I'm saying. Ice is the only one that has, I guess, quote-unquote multiple effects, but whenever you shatter something, they will take increased crit damage. But the other part of shatter is the freeze. The freeze part is what delays the stun timer. That is the unique value of the ice element. Us not being able to do that immediately makes ice characters worse as an element because they don't have any specific advantage. It is one of the advantages that, you know, allowed our goat to perform so well, because her teams could freeze the enemy, and she also had freeze, and you could do double freeze and get a massive extension on the stun timer. Them making freeze no longer, like, you can't freeze enemies is bad in multiple regards. It makes her harder to get her maximum output, but it also means any ice characters also get nerfed effectively directly, because they are no longer able to do one of the things that gives them an advantage against fights, right? Because if you're able to freeze with Sakaku, that means you can get extra stun duration, set up her buffs, do other things like that. If you're able to freeze with Idhari, guess what? Idhari would be able to do the same thing. She'd be able to freeze, extend stun window, and get these other benefits, right? But if you keep doing unfreezable bosses, these characters no longer get the benefits of their element, and they're just going to be shafted. There's more I could go on to that, but hopefully you understand my point, is that them not being able to freeze immediately makes characters like Idhari, who would still benefit from it, worse than they probably would be in actuality, which is a very unfortunate for characters like Ellen, who arguably really need that freeze extension because her damage is not high enough to keep up with these other characters, right? As an example. It also makes Sakaku a bit worse because she's no longer able to abuse the mechanics that she is supposed to have, right? There's a lot of sides to this, and it is not good that they are making unfreezable bosses. I hope it is just the one boss, like most people are probably thinking now that I've explained it that way. And if it's just the one boss, then great, who cares? If the one boss is unfreezable, no big deal. But I hope they don't keep doing this like going forward, especially because they keep increasing the anomaly values. It really screws up setups that we currently have, and I think they should not be increasing it, especially to this extent. It makes a lot of these characters bad, flat out, right? At least some of them like Yanagi are always going to age well because they just decide to do the most busted kit and put it as a DPS character. I don't know why she's a DPS. That's a side tangent. Anyways, went a bit on a tangent there. Unfreezable bosses is bad. Okay, that's about it. That's the main reason why you see her being ranked down. They probably explained it down here, but yeah, that's one of the things I want to mention. As a major part of characters' rankings and tier list is based on the performance end of the assault and a mode seeing heavier and heavier shilling alongside noticeable difficulty increases due to the stat increases and new bosses. This is another thing that I think is really interesting. The whole shilling thing, the buff right now with Ether Veil is kind of the only reason Monato can even score. I know that seems a bit harsh, but like I tried using Monato against the boss. They changed, by the way, they changed the labeling here. I'll show you. They changed the labeling on the bosses to straight up tell you it's like, hey, this is what is effective against that boss, right? But there's a problem with this specifically is that this isn't really necessarily true. It says, wow, agents with Rupture specialty are suitable for agents with Rupture specialty. This one says suitable for agents with attack specialty. Well, the problem here is that I'm a decent player, but because of this boss mechanics and just damage wise, even with this insane buff, which is going to give you 10% shear, faster miasmic shield reduction, 30% shear damage again, and then a 45 sub multiplier, I'm still only scoring this with my Monato. Granted, my Monato build could be better. I could have R5 weapon. That's what could be better about it. The other stuff is already pretty good. Also, I could not have Caesar. Caesar is really not doing all too much here. Lucia is. My Lucia doesn't have enough HP though. She only has 21k. So there's improvements to be made here. But this score isn't necessarily impressive, all things considered. And even with a super shield buff against a boss that, again, quote on them, wanted to use Rupture agents, it really doesn't seem like it's enough. Also, there's this whole, anomaly buildup reduction and crit damage increase, right? All that is to say is that despite what they're saying, like Hoyoverse, it's kind of getting to a concerning point with this most recent update in terms of, the whole like HP inflation thing, right? I know I made a video about that the other day, but it is very interesting to see, especially when you consider all these shilling mechanics, that even the newer characters probably not where you want them to be, all right? Or at least they're maybe going a little too hard on certain aspects. I don't know. There's a discussion to be had there about shilling mechanics and other things like that, but I just thought it's worth mentioning because even with Monato, mine's M5 by the way, with a good build and like an okay team, right? It's still like kind of a struggle bus for me as like a free to play, right? But who knows? Maybe I just need to keep going at it. I don't know, boss RNG, right? But yeah, a big matchup dependent thing right there. So that is important to keep in mind. Shilling buffs and the stat increases from the bosses, HP and anomaly buildup wise. Continuing, each of these factors is being aligned in order to push new archetypes and characters while diminishing older ones. Yes. I mentioned this before. I know in my one video I mentioned Asaba really isn't that good against the Defiler. And look, I played it. He can apply. I've been playing him more, to be fair. So any Asaba fans, what's up? I guess I'm a part of you now. Mine's not too crazy, but he's got some good stats, so that's really that matters. As I've been like playing him and figuring out his stuff, I don't really hold the same opinion anymore. But he's still not ideal against the Defiler due to how much he moves around and like other mechanics. So like I don't think he's like screwed over per se in terms of like wasting his resources, but he's not the best. I think there could easily be better characters for that sort of thing. I keep going on tangents. I gotta continue this. It's a fact that many older characters either can't keep up with the new bosses or being completely left without a viable deadly assault buff to use. It's true, hurting their viability. We are marking the characters majorly affected by these factors a watch list. So again, our goat, for example. We won't act based on these watch lists immediately, but we feel it's necessary to notify the community regardless. Oh, he was making a huge push to empower Rupture agents while diminishing disorder. Yeah, Vienko. This is what I was saying. Anomaly buildup makes it harder for disorder to work. Flat out. I really want them to stop because these teams are slowing down massively because you can't do what you're trying to do. You can't. Everybody's getting affected by this. You can't do as much damage because they're just being directly nerfed. And Miyabe to a pretty good extent. And they're heavily shilling Rupture in multiple regards. Because if you can't freeze the boss, guess what? You just want to do raw damage. That's it. Actually, why don't we check the boss's defense? I know that's going to be a debate topic that people want to talk about. Sure, let's just check the defense. I think about it. Because why not? If we want to talk about the whole Rupture Shill thing, people like to push their agendas and be cringe about it. Let's just check the defense values. Let's see. Gonna load. All right, daily assaults. Current live version. Miasma Priests. I don't see his defensive value. 952. That's what it says. So that's the average defensive value. Oh, here, I'll show you. There. There's the ID number. You can see the defense value. It's going to round up to 953. And I don't believe that's changed here. So yeah, average defense value. The Defiler. The Defiler has a 952 average defense value. Okay, so it looks to be the exact same as the high tier enemies issue defense. The Butcher. The Butcher seems to have the exact same defense value. I'm seeing no noticeable changes here besides the fact that they do have a lot of HP. This might be reduced HP actually. But that's besides the point. Wait, what the hell is this? Oh, weird. I didn't know about that. But yeah, I am not seeing a major increase in damage. What you will see, though, is this massive anomaly buildup increase. Look at that. Massive increase there. Just so you guys can take a look at the numbers. By the way, this is going to be Hakash. You can find the enemy data there. They've done a great job. They've updated the data a lot. So we can now see more accurate data and, understand the game better, right? So there's a lot of useful information on this site. Keep that in mind. Back to this. So yeah, not everybody's getting reduced, but certain characters are being affected more. That's the point here. All right, tier list updates. So Nicole got the expert tag. Obviously, I mean, if you use Nicole, first off, if you use Nicole but then don't understand why she's good, because she's hard to use. It's that simple. People always talk about and always glaze Nicole in terms of power, but the most important thing is that she's just hard to use. Not everybody can make full use of her. I didn't use her for the longest time. I still don't use her. I pretty much only use her for Zhuan teams because it's just too hard to make use of her abilities. You don't get full uptime. It's that simple. I've done a couple of funny things like Orphe, Nicole, Zhuan, just because like Orphe carry, right? My Orphe carried me, but like my Orphe build is kind of stacked. We don't gotta talk about that. That unit is actually just like really good. But apparently unpopular. Anyways, yeah, for a long time now we had many requests to move her to T0, but we held off due to her mixed results and lower skill levels. We're finding the expert tag to demonstrate her power at those who can play her. Yep, I agree with this completely. I don't think she's T0. I'll be honest. I think she's kind of only here because of the expert tag. If you can't fully utilize her abilities, she's kind of just dead weight. Just saying, like, yes, the buffs are really good, but if you can't expertly apply her bubbles and do all her combos correctly, and when to use her abilities, all that good stuff, like she requires a lot more input than just, oh hey, I shoot the enemy 3 times a trigger and then she goes off field, right? Nicole requires a lot more, so that's definitely warranted, and I just don't think she's going to be up there at T0, especially because like if we think of overall buffs, she's giving you up to 15% crit rate, was it 40% defense down, and then you get some extra damage percent from her weapon. Oh, I think it's like, I think it maxes at 20, just off the top of my head. But like that's solid, but then you've got Trigger who's going to be doing days, and then if you get her weapon, you're going to get 25 defense down. And then it's 35% days multiplier, which these two things are not correlated, but this is effectively a raw 35% damage increase. On top of another like 12% damage increase from the defense down. This defense down is going to be a lot higher. I forget off the top of my head, but even if you don't have the weapon, the defense down like triggers actual so multipliers can be stronger, I believe, than Nicole's defense down. I could be wrong. Somebody can quote me in the comment section, or I could. Should I just check it right now? I'm not gonna check it. But you get what I'm saying. It's like Nicole's really good in scenarios you can use her, but you're not always able to make use of her full abilities. And characters like Trigger are gonna outperform her in that regard, especially given that this requires less skill to utilize effectively than Nicole does, right? That's like the simplest way I can put it. Jufufu. I'm just gonna say Jufufu's overrated. She's the weakest character on the Rupture teams. Not sorry. She shouldn't be T0. Doesn't make any sense to put her T0. Dialin Supremacy. Dialin Yo Mom is gonna destroy Jufufu. And you know, oh, hold on. I'm just gonna hold on. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm pulling up the meme. Give me a moment. I pulled it up on stream earlier. Here we go. This is the meme I want to pull up. Meet potential stunner. Worse scores than Lighter and Trigger and Deadly Assault. Is that Orpheus that can activate Lighter's additional, huh? I better rebrand myself as an ult buffer or I'm finished. 0 more stuns than Pulchra. 0 teams where she's a better upgrade in the DPSW engine. 7 resetted runs because she couldn't stun before the miasma phase. Lend me some ults, Shifu. This is Trigger without an additional ability we're up against. Actually be best in slot for Rupture characters? No, because you synergize with them. Only be played of Rupture characters because you're an industry plant who screwed over all other stunners and additional abilities. Yes. Listen. I know in my video I'm going to upload probably tomorrow, and I've said before, like the whole agenda pushing problem, but let's be real here. Honest. Look at the facts and how the unit actually functions, right? And contextualize it across the game. Jufufu is not a T0 character. She's being overrated right now. They're just shilling Rupture agents. So of course she's going to look, comparable to the other stunners. But guess what? The moment they drop a stunner, that is going to give you a stun timer extension, damage percent, stun damage multiplier that does damage, wink wink, immediately better than Jufufu. Also, they have a quick assist. I hate playing Jufufu because she doesn't have a quick assist. It feels awful. Anyways, Jufufu's already performing extremely well in the phase. By the way, she's a Lighter downgrade. I'm sorry. I know I went on this whole arc. If you've been watching the channel, I was like, before Jufufu came out, I'm like, oh, she's like like an 8 out of 10 rating to pull for her. Like, it's good. And then I'm like, okay, I think she's probably overrated. Drop her down to like 6 out of 10. And then now we're back here where it's like, oh, Jufufu is actually decent. But I'm going to have to disagree with her being decent now that that's the narrative, because why use her over anybody else? She's just being shilled for the 2 Rupture characters right now. Anyways, with an upcoming push towards Rupture and release of Lucia, we expect to only be pushing her higher in the future. Yish wants the biggest benefactor of Jufufu because both of her ults will count towards the decibel gain, and so she can utilize Jufufu's abilities the most. Other characters can't do that. So, yeah. Anyways, moving forward, not T0, not sorry. With her buffs and the momentum gained from the release of Orpheus, S0 Ambi has gained significant power, and this power is enough for increasing her from rating from T1 back to T.5. Honestly, valid. The Mono Aftershock team I find really fun, and it's actually really strong. I think it was better than I expected, to not gonna lie. But that assumes you have, like, you need a bit of investment. The thing is, other characters can perform at this level with less investment. Like, you should have need, like, Ambi her weapon, Orphe her weapon, and then, like, Trigger her weapon to, like, get that power. Like, it needs quite a bit. That's a, 6 cost team versus a Saba, who's a character that beforehand could clear similarly with less costs. And even now, other characters around her arguably don't need that high of a cost. Like, you can do, like, you Evelyn's team is like at minimum 3 cost, like Lighter's weapon plus Evelyn. Oh, I guess there's also Astra's like 4 cost. But you get what I'm saying. It's like these other teams like to get this level of performance, not really the same thing. That being said, though, from my use, Ambi is actually excelling past Evelyn, but I could just have a skill issue or not know enough about Evelyn, like haven't like done enough research about Evelyn, like just being it'd be a me thing. And then Alice, it depends on the matchup. I mean, really all of this depends on the matchup, but like I feel like Ambi's actually doing really, really good right now, assuming you've got the full Aftershock team. We're spending too much time on this. I need to keep going for it. But yeah, I think Ambi's really good, and I do think it's valid to put her here. Maybe we need to adjust some of the other characters lower, is what I was going to get at. Ellen and G1, both of them are performing okay. But they haven't been keeping up with agents currently placed in T1. Valid. We're not moving them down immediately, but we're watchlisting them to bounce back. I'm not going to lie. Drop both of them. G1 can perform, but she's nowhere near the other characters. I'm not going to lie. I think both of them should drop. Yeah, I've been using Ellen. Now, to be fair, been using her on her classic mono ice. I know there's other subs I should be using. I know I'm sitting here with like a trigger S1, and I really like, oh, I should just be using trigger, blah, 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 like all this other stuff. I get it. Don't care. She doesn't perform as good as these other characters. Drop her, drop her, drop her. That's simple. G1, same thing. She sucks balls. Just kidding. It's just her investment sucks balls. Drop her, drop her, drop her. Yeah. G1 just doesn't really perform the same anymore. It's mostly matchups. Like this matchup here is terrible for her. I'm gonna just say it. Her quote unquote best team not having defensive assist completely screws you over for this fight. And really, all my Asthma fights, they want you to have a defensive assist. Evasive assists right now are kind of dead. Just saying. Continuing. Our GOAT, the highest profile casualty of Hoyo's new boss design. Yep, I already mentioned that. Probably don't need to read this paragraph. I'm going to read it anyways. As boss rotations and buffs available. Oh, yeah. Talking over myself. Anyways, currently Deadly Assault bosses featured are specifically designed to counter Meowth. Yep. With that said, being unfreezable and having increased anomaly buildup resistance. Wow, I said the same thing. Do I even have to read this? Additionally, blah 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 has recently resurfaced like Deadly Assault buffs, true newer anomaly buffs like disorder-related effects, and instead of anomaly proficiency or lack of synergy with her entirely. This is isolated as blah, 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 occurring back phases with impact rules of one of the strongest characters in the game. However, the content continues to be designed with hinder her performance. You may be able to adjust her placement until it stops happening. We have no plans to move her in the short term, but we are watching her. Blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing I said earlier. It's just the boss design. By the way, I've scored better on the Butcher, but I run attack percent slot 6. Maybe I just have to give in to the demons and run Anomaly Mastery, but I have a better score now. But this is still, in my opinion, disappointing considering the team. This should be doing a lot more. Maybe I need to look into her setups more, but I really, really do not want to put Anomaly slot 6, bro. I'm going to crash out. Anyways, I'm going to still try to improve these scores on the Butcher and these other characters. I just thought I'd point that out. That I'm scoring decently with really good builds, but that's the thing. A good player like me, at least I think I'm a good player. I know you guys don't see a lot of gameplay videos. I'll try to get more of this out, but I would think I'd be scoring higher. So it's either skill issue or HP inflation. One of those. Lighter, while powerful, isn't displaying the same level of dominance as other T0 support characters. Wrong. Get Jufufu out of there. Compared to Jufufu, oh my god. No. His core teams aren't gaining momentum. With many of them having difficulties, increased difficulty of the boss cycles. That said, Lighter Storm is a strong play for many. We're watch listing him now. I want to look at the data. Well, I think this proves my point exactly. What about Jufufu? This looks like a worse score. Combined it, the Defiler. Okay, okay. Boss 2, the Butcher. Oh, worse. Pompeii. Lighters on top. Interesting. Interesting, interesting. This was second phase last update. Before then, Jufufu's up here, lighters down here. Oh, this is users rates. Wait, she's still... I've never looked at this data before. 86%. What are people using with her? There's a lot of... Wait. There's a lot of filters here. The Defiler, I'm seeing a lot of Aftershock teams. Okay. A lot of people like using her with Vivian. I don't get it. But fair enough. This is... Wait. Mono Ice. This one I don't get. Oh, their average... Okay. Never mind. Average score? That makes more sense. That's bad. And then this is all... Are people just brute forcing with Yishuan? To be fair, these people probably just have skill issues, and so they're like using whatever they have for Pompeii. It's either Evelyn or like brute force with Yishuan. Yeah, I honestly think just people just like don't know what they don't have the matchups. I think that's really what it is. But yeah, I wonder what they're using for that. The Filer trigger. Trigger is the entire reason why non-crit teams are even able to do the Defiler at all. Trigger is like one of the best counters to the Defiler, just flat out, because it's off-field damage dealer. So like that's nice. Who is the wait, bro? Who are you're using Hugo flat? Oh my god. Yeah, some people are not good matchups for the Defiler. The Butcher, well, that makes sense. Yep. Pompeii. Oh, look, lighter's being used more. Jufufu is there. Where's Fufu? There. Lighter's down here. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Pompeii. This is the team. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought this would be interesting to look at. She defense. Let me... Wait, Ambi has the best times right now? Wait, in her last phase? Bro, this data is has to be so skewed. I need more people on this. Damn. Astra still being... you know what? Whatever. We don't gotta look at this. Back to the tier list. Damn, I kind of already yapped and said everything that needed to be said, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, the one GOAT plus the Shifu T0, right now it makes sense, but for the first time with the release of Lucia, honestly, valid arguments for Shifu being better for the first time. It's been a year. Crazy that the GOAT has finally been tackled. Just wait till we get another ice buffer. Yeah, these units I think are all valid. I think Evelyn is a weird one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if she needs to be up here. Again, could be a skill issue on my part, but I don't really feel it. Alice, again, here nor there. Seed, I think, is only up here, assuming she's got her like best partners, like Orphe, so on and so on. Yanagi definitely deserves to be up here. She's kind of the whole reason Anomaly's even so good in the first place, right? I think Ellen is probably too overrated. My Monato without as good of investments is doing better than Ellen, so drop her. Hugo, he's getting cucked by matchups, is what it is. Jane, I'm not gonna lie, I think Jane is probably better than T1, but that's probably because, again, the other units in this tier that are the questionable ones. But like Jane's really good right now, especially if you do have like Vivian or mainly Yuzua, like these other characters. So yeah. Piper, no idea why Piper's still here. Jane's just better. Hey man, just saying. Juwon, drop her. Asaba. Look, Asaba mains. I know I'm giving him praise, but he mid. Just saying. Everybody else on here, it's valid. Nothing to really talk about there. The Apex characters, again, if we're considering secondary DPS, Vivian's just arguably the best one. That's simple. No need to talk about Orphe. She's just really good, goated, but I would not put her above next to Vivian. That's simple. As for the support characters, I think Jufufu's overrated. Lighter, debatably should stay up there. I understand because it's like, oh, we've got less fire characters now, but that's because Hoyoverse cannot stop releasing electric attackers for some reason. We have too many electric units, goddammit. Not release an electric or ice character challenge because of their Idhari's an ice character. I mean, Jesus Christ. Anyways, Lucia needs to be up here based on her buffing Rupture and being really good at it. Yuzua needs to be up here because she is literally the goated, arguably best support in the game. I'd say she is. But yeah, goated. Sakaku, valid placements. Nicole, again, valid. I would argue a bit lower. Trigger, same thing. Vaughn, again, matchups. He only has a few teams, is what it is. Panda, valid. Pulchra, M6, valid. Chingy, also valid. Chingy might get dropped to the new character. Caesar, it's balls. Lucy is okay. Rena is balls now. I mean, Rena has some play in like shock teams, but like balls. Kaleda is whatever. Seth is balls. I'm a Seth player. No, I'm not. He's just balls. I use him sometimes though because the new mode wants like 5 teams. So, and then Ambi balls. Unfortunately, she's got good stun though, which is kind of funny. She's got better stun than these other newer stunners. But yeah, honestly, I think that's the video. I really don't know what to say past all that yapping I've done at the beginning, talking about the placements, everything like that. Like, subscribe, check me out on Twitch. Tell me your thoughts about this down below. Do you agree, disagree? And yeah, I don't know. Interesting era we're going to enter with Zenless in terms of the Rupture Shilling, in terms of the Rupture meta that we're going into, and game balance as a whole. Because this is the first time where I'm just kind of like, I don't know about this. So yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.